Have you ever felt like you have been hidden in the dark and you just want to come out into the light? Well, we are in our third installment of our collaboration with the Baton Pass on the Parable podcast, and it is a special series that we are dedicating to unleashing your story. I'm your host, Danielle Zapchenk, and today I sit down with co-founders Lana and Loraine of Out of the Dark as they seek to help women heal from abuse and become who they were created to be.
When I walk alongside a woman and I've been where she's been, it shows me how far I've come because of what God's done in my life. I remember one time at a dark place, and I was just revisiting all the stuff that had happened as a child and some stuff that was going on at that time. I said, God, why did you let all this stuff happen to me? And he just said to my heart, you don't know how much I kept from happening to you. And that changed my life.
Here's my conversation with Lana and Loraine. Today, I have the honor and privilege of talking with Lana and Loraine from Out of the Dark and Kelly Olson from the Baton Pass. This is our third episode in our collaboration with the Baton Pass on unleashing your story. And so I'm excited to talk a little bit more about your stories today, Lana and Loraine, and how Out of the Dark came to be and just what that has meant to you, and also how it's incorporated with the Baton Pass. So, Lana, I know that we have a little bit of connection. We have a mutual friend named Meryl, and she was the whole reason why I came to the Baton Pass event a couple summers ago, how I got connected to Kelly. And truly, it changed the trajectory of how I envisioned this podcast, and just also got some sweet friends out of out of this opportunity. So thank you so much for having Meryl as your friend.
It worked out really well, didn't it?
Yeah. Lana, can you tell us a little bit about your passions, what you do day to day, a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a mom of 3 adult daughters, and I have 3 grandchildren. So day to day, they're my real passion. I love being with my grandkids and my children. I'm very family oriented. So I spend a lot of time with them. They live 1 mile and 3 miles away from me, so we're very close. And then the other thing I like to do is I really like to help women, encourage women. I've always, for the last 35 years, led women's Bible studies, mentored young college-age women. I just like seeing women grow and become who they can be.
Lana, did you realize that from early on, or is that something that you realized over time that you want to help empower and encourage women?
I think it came over time. I did not realize it until I just started doing other things and realizing where I really fell into place, what my niche was, and it still now continues to be true. It's just the direction I think I just always now go in. And it's been nice because I've been able to determine, even fine tune that to what I don't like to do versus what I think I'm gifted in doing. So I've been able to fine tune that over the years as well.
That's beautiful. Loraine, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you just returned back from the Wild West of America. So tell us who you are, what you're passionate about, and maybe what was something you really enjoyed about that last vacation.
Yes, I have 2 adult children as well, a boy and a girl, and they both live about an hour away from me, not real close, but I love it when I get to see them. They're just living their best life, in their 20s. But I feel very strongly about lifting other women up as well, because for me, a lot of it is just like the feeling of justice. I feel very strongly when I see an injustice, and I want to make a wrong right, usually. So it's women who are normally at the bottom end of that. And we just, my husband and I just came back from a vacation to Colorado, South Dakota, and driving all around there was just so beautiful. I've never been out there before. So we had a lot of fun.
That's great. Kelly, how did you connect to Lana and Loraine?
A little over 5 years ago, I sat down with a friend and mentor of mine, Donna Peacock, and shared with her the vision of the Baton Pass and that I wanted to get women together so that we could share our stories of what we've overcome in order to encourage one another, and kind of casted the vision for Donna. And she said, well, these are some key people that you'll want to connect with. And Loraine was one of them. And she had gotten to know Loraine and her story and all that she had overcome. So I reached out to Loraine and we connected, and she actually shared just a snippet of her story at the first event. And then about a year and a half later, we recorded her full story and shared it at an event we hosted at Pinstripes. And she's played an integral role in the Baton Pass ever since. And then Lana, I did not know Lana. We had been going to the same church, but she came to the first Baton Pass event back on November 12th. 2017, and she came with a group of friends and was very encouraged by the event. We connected afterwards, and she ever since has been one of our largest promoters of the Baton Pass. She multiplies our attendance each time and just has a real heart for inviting people in, and has also helped us with our strategy sessions. So she played an integral role in helping us put together a vision and 5-year vision statement, those types of things.
Loraine, what does it feel like to know that somebody else heard your story and then connected you with Kelly?
I mean, I feel like these divine connections just happen all around us all the time, and you never know when it's going to happen. So God is working behind the scenes and has plans. So it's just kind of not really that surprising to me. It's just like, just go with it, because this is what's supposed to be going on.
Lana, that's awesome that you have a heart for encouraging others to come to these types of events. Does that go back to your passion of just wanting women to be able to experience and understand and be encouraged within their own story?
Yes, it absolutely is. There's a couple things. I like women to feel special. I like I like the idea of them being able to go out for an evening just for them and feel special. And Kelly and the Baton Pass team, they always put together just top-notch events that make a woman feel special. But in addition to that, my heart is for hurting women. And there's hurting women out there everywhere. And the reason I invite people is because so many different stories are there, but yet you never know who they're going to connect to. And it's just, they're blessed by it. It's a beautiful evening. And I just love women being just showered upon, I guess. I feel like there's just so much that happens on a day-to-day basis where they're not necessarily appreciated maybe, or just recognized, just the ins and outs of every day. And I just love when women are made to feel special.
That's great.
And they are at these events.
Loraine, how did you first experience unleashing your story through the Baton Pass? And what stood out most to you?
When I started telling my story at the Baton Pass, I was still really new at it. Actually, 6 months before that was the first time I spoke about it, and I was just finishing up a really bad period in my life, and it was very empowering, definitely. So I was nervous about it. I figured, well, who's going to care about this, And then afterward, so many people started telling me, oh my goodness, I felt the same things and went through a lot of similar things. And then when I hooked up with Kelly, and she was presenting women in different situations who had overcome different things, the same thing happened. Women would try to connect with me then. I heard your story at the Baton Pass where, Kelly told me about what you had gone through. And it's very fulfilling, I guess, to feel that you've impacted someone else, because it's a very alone time in your life. And then to know that other people are going through it, have gone through it, have come out the other side, and are still living a wonderful life. That's a good feeling.
Lana, for you, was there any kind of sense of fear to be able to unleash your stories through the Baton Pass? What happened for you when you had to start doing that?
The reason I went to the Baton Pass, I had just lost my husband of 30 years, and I was really struggling. That whole year I had been struggling and just not sure what I was going to do with my life and what it was going to look like. And honestly, I was gripped by fear. It had a hold on me that was just horrible. And so what happened when I went to the Baton Pass, actually how I heard about it is it kept coming through my social media feeds. And I'm like, what is this? And I saw it and I'm like, you know what? I want to go. I want to see what it's about. And oh my goodness, I still remember how special I felt that day and how they had everything set up and even this chocolate fountain they had. And I just felt so special. I felt good because I was at a place of darkness and pain and fear. And yet now I went to this and I'm surrounded by all these other women and women that had gone through a lot of their own tragedy as others had shared their story. It just gave me this hopefulness inside me. And it was just wonderful to be able to then walk alongside because Kelly's heart just, I guess, must have been moved or something because she just invited me in to the intricate parts of the Baton Pass. And then I felt like I was a part of something. And then I was growing and I'm rubbing shoulders with these godly women, and it was changing me little by little. It was changing me, and that fear was slowly losing its grip on me. And I felt like I had a purpose again, and that was just Kelly's graciousness to allow me in and let me be part of something that what I felt was extraordinary. So
yeah. That's beautiful, Lana. And I think that's it. Just when you start connecting and just little by little, again, you said that this is over time. This is not like one night and it was fixed. It felt so much better. It was a process. And I love, Kelly, you do this so well, is you continue to invite people in and you just keep encouraging them and seeing what they are capable of. And you just help people know that they have gifts, that they are seen. And I think that really the Baton Pass is an extension of you and just how you love people so well. So I love you, Kelly. This whole podcast is really about stories, very similar to what the Baton Pass does, is showcasing other people's stories to help all of us realize that we can overcome. Loraine, what would be one of your parable stories that you wanted to share with us today?
I have connected for a long time now with the parable in Matthew about the 99 sheep and how Jesus is my shepherd. And just, he told the story of leaving 99 sheep behind to go search for that one to rescue. And that's exactly how I felt when he rescued me, because I was in a pit of despair. Absolutely. And it was lasting quite a long time. And he did rescue me. And that's when I finally realized, I think that, yes, I am worthy, that he does love me so much. And it makes me feel so special that he would do that. So that's the one that I really connect with.
Loraine, how does that play out when you said that you are the sheep in that parable, the one that is lost and in despair? What was going on in your world that brings to memory that parable?
I was going through a divorce. I like to say I left an abusive marriage, but the leaving part was really dragged out. I was suffering from post-separation abuse, which lasted 10 years, going back to court over and over again. And my children were teenagers at the time, and the impact on them was horrible to watch. Yeah. And I thank God that they've come out of it still really strong and resilient adults and loving. So my relationship with them was very compromised for a while. There was not much I could do. I was not in control. I was not the one controlling the situation. And, I think that Jesus taught me so much through that period and did rescue me. But all that I had learned, I feel like that has made me who I am today. Yeah. And I don't want other women to have to go through it. I know there are many, many that go through it. And I want to help them. I want to hold my hand out and say, come with me. There's a way out, because it's horrible to live through. And it's unfortunately very common.
Loraine, obviously when someone gets married, it is never their goal or intention to be like, I hope we have a rocky relationship. You go into it loving somebody so much, and then the person that is supposed to love you doesn't. What was the realization like for you that something wasn't adding up? Something was wrong in this relationship, that you deserved more, that you were worth more. What was that like for you?
I think it took me a really long time to figure that out. Before all those years, I was a very strong and independent and self-confident woman, believe it or not. And I couldn't believe that that was happening to me, so I didn't realize it. And it took a long time. It took many years. I had completely lost my light, my personality, no self-worth at all. And it was just a very crazy realization to think that that could happen to me. And getting your head back on straight and realizing, yes, I deserve better than this. So it took a long time and a lot of courage. And it happened slowly. And unfortunately, it was very long. But I was redeemed completely and renewed. And thank God, I have the best parents in the world. They were behind me 100%. And, finally my mom said, we have our daughter back. Yeah. And that was really, really good to hear.
Thanks so much, Loraine, for sharing that, and just the courage that took to step out of that relationship. And even though it took a while to get out of it, and I'm sure there's still emotions that, get triggered easily, but I'm just so glad that you have seen it and you are continuing to move on for it. Lana, what would you say is a story, because we have so many in our life, that has been a part of something where you've learned a lesson and then you can see that, sharing with others?
At first, it was losing my husband, and I did reach out and help other women who had lost their husband. I would meet with them, and that was good. However, I just, for years, not understanding why, but for years I've been getting educated in domestic violence because I had grown up in a horrifically abusive family, and my mom was just horrifically abused, and it has just stayed with me and spurred me on. I think that's probably where I get this drive to help hurting women. And then I haven't been able to let that go. And I just, not even knowing why, I would just get certified. I was volunteering with a community crisis center. I was a hospital advocate for sexual assault and domestic violence when they'd come into the ER. And I just started slowly seeing that this was the direction I needed to go. This was the way I felt I'm going to be best able to serve and bring good out of a bad situation, which was my childhood. And then Loraine and we kept meeting each other. And at the Baton Pass, at these meetings, we would go to conferences. We'd both be there, and our passions aligned. And we really believe God brought us together for such a time as this, and through that created Out of the Dark.
Kelly, being able to witness what this is happening between Lana and Loraine, where they're starting to connect, what was it like to watch that occur?
I love being able to see when God moves and makes those connections. I love just being able to be like, my worlds are colliding. This person over here who has this passion is connecting with this person over here that has this passion. And that just is so energizing to me. I really, you just are obedient in what God asks you to do. And I didn't realize that when we put together this steering team for the Baton Pass, this was 2 years in, and we just said, we need to put together like this steering team so that we can solidify our mission and our vision and just make sure that we're very strategic in how we invest our time and our resources so that we're doing what God has called us uniquely to do. And so in doing that, I was like, well, some key women that should be part of it would be Lana and Loraine. And then each time that we were together, they'd come up with like the same ideas of how to help women. And they would, as we're brainstorming, and their vision and their hearts it was so clear that they were kindred hearts and kindred spirits, that it was cool to watch that friendship strengthen, because it was already there. But I think in those like 2-3 hour sessions, they realized that their hearts were even more aligned. And then just to hear them following those breadcrumbs of, okay, God's shown us this and shown us this. And then they went out, I believe it was to North Carolina together to experience a curriculum that helps women with domestic violence, and just getting to it's very exciting, and it is an honor to be able to see what God's doing and have a front row seat in it. So I'm very grateful that I got to see it, because some of it happens behind the scenes and we never know. God makes those connections and then you never get to see it, but you maybe we'll hear about it once we get to heaven. But it's really sweet when God allows us to have that front row seat. So I'm really grateful for that, and to see what these brave women have been doing.
Lana, what have you seen about the impact when you invite all of these women? Have you guys seen any impact on your family and friends through the Baton Pass events?
Yes, what I've seen is I've seen my family and friends, literally, that's why it multiplies all the time, is they're impacted, and then they invite more of their friends. Mm-hmm. And I remember one event, I think we filled up an entire table, and then I believe another event, we had 2 tables, and actually it was 3 tables we had, because they kept inviting as well. So once they come, they do understand and see the value in it.
Loraine, tell us what happened as you guys were connecting and launching what was to become Out of the Dark. Tell us what happened in 2021.
Well, on our way back home, actually, from that one retreat that we went to in North Carolina, we had a lot of time in the car together. So we were really brainstorming and coming up with ideas and refining our visions. And we didn't really give ourselves a time frame, I guess. We just were forming ideas. We met several times over that summer thinking, what direction to take, and making plans. And we knew we were going to have a support group. We knew we wanted to, help women heal who have already come out of domestic violence situations. And we knew that there would be damage to every part of a person when you come out of it. And all of them needed to be addressed in order to heal. And we were planning on doing support groups. We did connect with this beautiful book that Charlene Quint has written. It's a very comprehensive faith-based book, and it was perfect for using in our support groups. And we still did not have start dates or anything like that. But thanks to Kelly and the Baton Pass, she kind of lit a fire under us and said, okay, in 30 days, we're going to have this concert for you guys, and it's going to be for the benefit of Out of the Dark. And so we said, okay, we better get moving then and start making our, serious plans with dates. That's the key. You can have great ideas, but unless you put dates to them, they can't happen, really. So that was really an awesome experience. The outdoor concert that Kelly had organized for us with the Baton Pass, it was Melanie Waldman, and she was singing her songs and telling her stories that so connected with our mission. And it was beautiful. And it definitely lit that fuse to get going. And we started our support groups several weeks after that. That's it. Yeah. And it's been going very strongly and growing since then.
Is there anything that, as we think about those who are either experiencing domestic abuse right now, or they have just come out of it, what encouragement would you give them, like 1 or 2 things to help them as they start that journey to heal and get out of a situation like that?
I was just going to say, for one, they need to get someone to walk alongside them. Don't do it alone. Have someone walk alongside them that can encourage them and lift them up. They're very vulnerable and very weakened at that point in time. And they need someone that's strong and that can encourage them and lift them up and guide them. They need that desperately in those early days. It's really important.
Loraine?
They do. They need that. They need community. And a lot of times they don't realize that they need healing. They might think it's over with. I'm done. I'm good to go. My life is just back on track. track. That rarely happens. So even happened to me. I thought I was okay. And then physical things started happening because it does affect you physically as well, the stress of it all. So they have to really take a look at how much healing they still need. They might not realize it. And they do have to walk through it in order to heal, but they don't have to keep looking back. We really encourage people to move forward. That is key. We have been ourselves to other support groups that felt like the women were still stuck in their pit still after a year, many years sometimes. And they're not going to get better until they look ahead.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, I think that's important to recognize that it is a process. Some people usually ask me sometimes when they're talking about faith, they're like, well, I've been a Christian for 2 years. And I'm like, well, just imagine. The fact is you're only like 2 years old. So I think the same application kind of goes to if you've lived in a domestic violence situation for so many years, to counteract what has happened to your soul and your mind. I mean, it is a long, excruciating process. But I think, little bits along the way with organizations like Out of the Dark, helping women understand and see what those triggers are, see how that they can continue to grow, and that this season of their life, it does not define them.
Correct. Yeah, we like to let people know. I'm sorry. We like these women to realize that their past does not determine their future, that they have so much more, and that life experience can be a stepping stone to a better future. That's why we focus so much about people looking forward and where they want to be. Sometimes to do that, you have to revisit, but we don't want women staying there.
Either of you, do you have not that you've ever arrived in your healing, has either of you noticed that by starting Out of the Dark, you have healed tremendously, even more than you could have understood, because now you're helping others? There's maybe some hard spots in your life that you didn't realize were still holding space in your heart. Has that ever happened for you, Loraine?
Yes, I feel that helping other women, just recognizing myself, my story in them, and remembering that I was like that too. It's such a difference. I've come such a long way, and I know they can too. And I try to instill that in them, and they feel it too. Because seeing Lana and I, and talking with them extensively, they have so much hope. They're like, so many times they'll be like, oh my goodness, I just wish I could be like you. We're like, you can, this can happen for you too. And it's just very fulfilling feeling to know that you can show them what it could be like.
Lana, you said that, you grew up in a horrific child situation. When you meet other people, other women who've experienced the same situation where their childhood was not what's in storybooks, what is it like to extend a hand to offer them just some encouragement to know that you've been there? What's that like for you?
People love it when they know you can relate to what they've been through. And just like Loraine was saying, it's very rewarding, and it gives them hope. And when I walk alongside a woman and I've been where she's been, it shows me how far I've come. And it shows me how far I've come because of the Father, because of what God's done in my life. And I remember one time at a dark place, and I said, God, and I was just revisiting all the stuff that had happened as a child and some stuff that was going on at that time. And I said, God, why did you let all this stuff happen to me, or something like that? Just being vulnerable. And he just said to my heart, he just said, you don't know how much I kept from happening to you. And that changed my life. And I share that with women a lot now, because a lot of times they don't understand it, and they're broken, and our whole focus is on what God can do in their lives. And a lot of them need to hear these kinds of things because they don't understand necessarily. They might come from the mindset of, why did God allow this to happen? Where was God? Well, he was right there, and he didn't want it happening either. So it's very humbling. It keeps me going back to God. It keeps me centered on God, because I know that without him, there isn't full healing. there can't be complete healing without him. And so it just keeps me humbled.
I could just add to that too. I think that the women that we meet and help, and usually very early in our getting to know them, they'll say, I can't wait to get better so that I can help other women like you too. It happens so often. It's sweet. And I would love that too. I would love to see that happen, you know.
Well, the mission of the Baton Pass is really to empower women to overcome. And by empowering Lana and Loraine, both of you have been able to really unleash your stories. And so now you guys are helping empower and encourage other women in their own healing journey. Kelly, what has that been like for you? And then also, like, how has that kind of been incorporated into the vision of the Baton Pass?
It's been so exciting and has expanded my vision and dreams for what God can do through the Baton Pass. Like, I know that we have primary vision and primary missions to empower women to overcome, but in seeing what Lana and Loraine have done, I pray that in the next 5-10 years, more women will do the same. With the passions that they have, they will come together and they will serve a unique group of women or a unique group of individuals in ways that their gifts can be used. I love that, like, we were a launching pad for them, but that we can now start pouring into other women and they're off pouring into women within out of the dark. And they still are very active in the Baton Pass. I'm very grateful for the ways that they still serve, and they'll be table leaders at the upcoming events. So they'll be able to connect with women there on the spot. But it's just really exciting to see that God had even bigger plans than I did initially with the Baton Pass. And I just pray that in Arizona now with the chapter out there, and as we do events here in Chicago too, that more women will be connected and that God will bring together those women to launch ministries and outreaches to serve a specific people group. So I'm very grateful. It's really cool. The strategy session that we did, we came up with 10 different statements or 10 different 5-year vision statements. And one of them is that we are partnered with Christ-centered fruit-bearing organizations in order to help more women live triumphantly. And so Lana and Loraine were part of putting together the sentence. Like, we wrestled over just how we were going to word it. And fruit-bearing and Christ-centered were really important. We didn't want to just help organizations. We wanted to have synergy and strategic partnerships. And then for them to be one of those Christ-centered fruit-bearing organizations now that we do partner with in order to see more women live triumphantly. It's been so sweet. This is just side note, but my husband works at a fitness studio where he owns and manages and runs it. And he, in getting to know everybody, hears their stories. And sometimes they're talking about the weight loss that they have, the life changes that they have, but a few people have come to him even and said, I'm in an unhealthy relationship right now and I don't know how to get out. And it's so sweet that my husband right away knows, okay, I need to put them in touch with Lana and Loraine. And he's texting them and saying, okay, I gave this person your number. I know they're going to be reaching out to you. So just that, that exists now. Before 2021, we didn't know where to send people because we didn't have faces with the ministries. But now we have these two amazing women that we love and that we can trust and that we know will walk alongside people that we encounter that need that kind of help. So it's been really, really sweet. It's been such a gift.
That's so awesome. And you're right. I think it's when we come together as the body of Christ, there are different aspects of all of our abilities. And so I think it's just important to say, when we come up with something, we have a ministry or an organization, even at work, where it's well, I'll just take care of it. I'll just do it. That really stifles, I think, the body of Christ and what God is going to be able to do. So it is changing that mindset of how can we do this together? This doesn't always have to be just about the Baton Pass, but expanding to so many different areas because really it is helping so many more women. That's exciting. That's encouraging. Lana, Loraine, is there anything you'd like to share about Out of the Dark, how people can get connected?
Sure. We have, like I mentioned, weekly support groups that meet in Bloomingdale, Illinois. We are not doing Zoom. We meet in person just because we feel it's more impactful and personal, and it's such a private thing that's going on. So we don't want people to feel their stories just out there, So we do like to meet in person. We also have other women on our leadership team now who are amazing, and everyone's got their own wonderful talents that God has given them, that we have someone who will help with nutrition and how it's part of healing, because when you are traumatized, your body is suffering as well. And nutrition is a huge part of that. We help people in whatever they need. We help people as court advocates if they need to go to court or just, need some encouragement. We will help them by sitting with them, by talking with them, by going to court with them, whatever it is that they need. And some people might need getting a job. We can help them with resume writing and put them in touch with people who can help them find a job. We also have someone on our leadership team that can help with like GED information and finishing their school. And she is a part of DuPage County, College of DuPage. College of DuPage. So we encourage people to check our website, which is outofdark.org. And they can email either me or Lana. I'm Loraine at outofdark.org. She's Lana at outofdark.org, or help at outofdark.org. And all of those ways are a means to get in touch with us, get some more information. But our website does have a lot of information.
Lana and Loraine, if somebody is not in the Chicagoland area and they just need help finding a specific resource, would they be able just to reach out via email to you?
Yes. Yes. We actually had someone down in Florida do that, and we were able to get them in contact with someone down in that area where they were.
Perfect. That's great. Well, all of your information, email, website, and the links will be available in the show notes. Kelly, before we wrap up, can you tell everybody, I know it's happening this Sunday, is the event that's happening in Barrington. We'd love for you to come. Can you tell us a little bit about it if you haven't registered yet?
Yeah, absolutely. We are so excited. The theme for this event is There's More to the Story. And we have had 5 years of sharing stories, and we realized there is more to the story. And a lot of times women that are in the depths of their pain don't see beyond that valley and beyond that darkness, just like Lana and Loraine were both talking about. And we have multiple women sharing their stories of, I remember, if this is what you're going through, I remember this. I remember how difficult it was. And I want you to know that there's more to your story. And we just are really excited to be able to put the courage back in people. I think sometimes when you get those blows in life, the enemy wants to steal our courage and wants to steal our hope and put us in a place of despair. But God wants us to have His courage within us to face the next day and beyond. And it's through linking up with other women that we can do that. So we're going to do that and create a beautiful space, just as Lana's talked about. Our team, our hospitality team, is so gifted at that. And we're really looking forward to meeting some new women and connecting with old friends. So
we'll all be there. So come say hi. Lana, Loraine, thank you so much for really just sharing courageously and also choosing to step out and starting your own organization. You didn't have to do that, but you did. You listened to what God was doing in your life, and He led you guys so well. I'm excited to see what is to come for Out of the Dark. And so thank you so much for being here. Kelly, thank you for having this idea and collaborating that we can unleash more and more stories. So thank you so much for all of you being here today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Danielle.
Well, this has been such a fun collaboration over the last 3 weeks. I'm grateful for women like Lana and Loraine and Diane and Angela and so many more out there. And also Kelly for continuing to build into the lives of others so that they feel empowered and the chains of shame are broken for so many women. If you want to learn more about the Baton Pass or their upcoming event, There's More to the Story. It's this Sunday, November 6th at 3 p.m. All of the information will be in the show notes. Plus, all of Out of the Dark's information with Lana and Loraine will be there too at daniellezapchenk.com if you would like to connect with them. For those of you that want to dive into a time of reflection, here are 2 takeaway questions. Number 1, as we finish up thinking about how we can unleash our story, if you've never really gotten there yet, is there someone you know that you can partner with, like Loraine and Lana did, to better unpack that for you? So what would be your next step in doing that? Number 2, what is something that needs to come out of the dark? Maybe it's an experience, emotion, trauma, hurt, some way that you can get out of feeling like shame and fear is holding you back from unleashing your story. How can you do that so you can move forward into the life God desires for you? Thank you so much for listening to this whole series and also the Parable Podcast. I'm just grateful for you all. My passion is really sharing and connecting stories so we can see God in our own lives. If your church, your women's ministry, or your event is looking for a speaker, I'd love to talk with you more. I love hosting, and you can find out all that information over at daniellezapchenk.com. And thanks so much to my technical producer of a husband for making me sound so great every week and editing this podcast. That is going to do it for today. I appreciate you for really spending time with me. Remember, your parable, it showcases how God wants you out of the dark. We'll see you back again next week on the Parable Podcast.